Hi, I'm Anthony from Cypher House Escape, and I am so excited for so many different reasons today. First, this is the first time that I'm recording since we've passed 100 subscribers on the channel. We're up to 103 now. That's pretty awesome. I never thought I would break 10 subscribers. So seeing the channel go into triple digits is really exciting for me. But most importantly, I'm excited to record today because it is the first day that I'm recording for a brand new puzzle hunt series, and I love doing these. These are so much fun. Today, we're starting the CMU puzzle hunt. That's Carnegie Mellon University. And this is one of the main puzzle hunts that I look forward to every year. There's actually twice a year. They do one every semester. So there's a spring and a fall Carnegie Mellon University puzzle hunt. I've been a fan of their puzzle hunts for the last few years now, pretty much since I got into solving puzzle hunts. And so I'm really excited that I can finally do a video series on the CMU puzzle hunt, because they usually do a very good job with their puzzles. This semester, their theme was the Oregon Trail, and so we're going to be solving the Oregon Trail puzzle hunt over the next few videos. I don't know a lot about how this hunt works. I've been trying to stay as spoiler-free as I can, but it does look like there's 3 sets of puzzles that each have their own meta puzzle associated with them. Now, just like in my most recent series of videos with the University of Maryland Jeopardy puzzle hunt, I want to see how quickly I can get through this puzzle hunt overall, how little time I can spend solving the entire set of puzzles. But the main new thing that I want to try with this puzzle hunt is to replicate the unlock structure that a lot of puzzle hunts tend to use. What I mean by that is that currently, since the puzzle hunt's over, I could just open up any of these puzzles right now, including the meta puzzles, and I could try them. But if I were actually doing this puzzle hunt live, that's not how it would have worked. Usually when you start the puzzle hunt, you only have a couple of puzzles available to you, and then either as time goes on or as you solve puzzles, more puzzles are unlocked and you can work on those. So I've come up with the following method of simulating that unlock structure for my solve of the CMU puzzle hunt. In this left-hand column here of my Excel sheet is the full list of puzzles. There's 18 feeder puzzles, and they're all in this list here. Only 3 feeder puzzles are going to be unlocked at any given time. I've randomized the full list of puzzles. Every time that I solve one of the puzzles that's unlocked, a new feeder puzzle will unlock as well. On the right here, I'm keeping track of how many feeder puzzles I've solved for each meta puzzle. The meta puzzles will unlock once I've solved 4 of the feeder puzzles for that specific meta. Solving the metas doesn't count towards unlocking more puzzles in my list of feeder puzzles. However, the way that I finish the entire hunt is by finishing all 3 meta puzzles. I should also mention that this isn't quite how unlocks worked for the CMU puzzle hunt as people were playing through it, so don't take this unlock structure as representative of how the actual hunt was run. This is just something that I came up with in order to replicate that for my particular solve. Okay, that was probably a bit of a longer intro than usual. I apologize for making you wait. Let's start the puzzling, starting my stopwatch now. So I currently have unlocked the puzzles Campfire Music, You Have Died of Dysentery, and My Kingdom for a Horse. So I'm going to open up those puzzles. Campfire Music, My Kingdom for a Horse, and You Have Died of Dysentery. A number of patients have come into the doctor's office today, each complaining of the same symptoms. So one thing that I notice is that there's 7 symptoms here, and that there's 8 different words under each patient. Maybe we are sorting these words into symptom categories in some way, and then there's going to be 1 word left over for each patient. Meanwhile, we have Campfire Music. After a long day, the stepmother called the children together for some campfire singing. They listened closely to the sound of music and tapped out the beats. So it does say the sound of music. I wonder if this is probably a reference to something from The Sound of Music. Oh, I see. This is probably a reference to that very popular song from The Sound of Music, because I'm seeing like a deer, for doe a deer, a female deer, ray, a drop of golden sun. And then we have My Kingdom for a Horse. White to move on all boards. Extract using the first move. We have, it looks like 10 different chess puzzles where we need to figure out how white will checkmate black in the number of moves given. And then we have an extraction grid down here. So let me see if I can figure out this first board. The king is here, and white has just one move to put the king in checkmate. Now this is kind of confusing because I'm not immediately seeing, at least under normal chess style puzzles, I'm not seeing a way to checkmate the black king in just one move. So that tells me that there's something weird going on here, and it probably relates to the title, My Kingdom for a Horse. I noticed that the only piece the black player has here is a knight. The white character also has a knight. Maybe we have to put an additional knight in here somewhere so that the chess puzzle is solvable. There's this even simpler looking grid down here at number 7 that's also checkmate in 1. And again, both players have a knight that's represented by the horse. So the puzzle likely has something to do with that. I just noticed that board 8 doesn't even have a black king on it. So wait, what are we doing? So maybe the knights are the kings? Maybe the knights and the kings have swapped roles in these games. Does that work? Like back in this first game, can I checkmate the... Oh, no, so maybe the knight does move like a normal knight. But maybe I need to checkmate the knight. So for example, this horse, this knight, can currently move to these 4 spaces. And all 4 of those spaces are currently guarded by this rook, because the rook can move vertically and horizontally. And so if we wanted to checkmate the horse, all we would need to do is move this bishop for the white onto this space. Because then the knight can't stay where it is because the bishop is going to have its eye on it, and it can't go to any of the other 4 spaces because of the rook. So we've put the knight in checkmate. That's really interesting. Which means the first letter that we're taking, it's in space 6F, I believe. But I don't know if we're using the space that the piece moves from or the space that it moves to, or both. So I'm going to record both. We need the letter in space H4 and the letter in space F6. So that's an A and a G. Okay, so this time the knight can move here, 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 and here. Obviously, the knight can't move onto its own piece. Both of these spaces at the top are currently guarded by the white knight, and these 2 spaces are also guarded by the white king, but we need to move one of those 2 pieces to put the knight in check. Yeah, it looks like we just moved the king from here to here. So that continues to guard these 2 corner spaces, and it puts the knight itself into check, and this white knight is still guarding the space up top. So this is the move for board number 7. We move from E4 to F3. When we're moving from E4 is an I. We're going to F3, which is this G. There are no more checkmate in 1 grids, so I'm going to go to checkmate in 2 grids. Mostly because I don't consider myself particularly good at chess puzzles, so I'm kind of worried that I'm not gonna get some of these. Okay, so where can the knight, here's the knight this time, and the knight can move here, 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 and here. Of course, that last space is blocked by the pawn. Now we have checkmate in 2, and I assume that means that after white makes their first move, black gets to make a move. So one of the things that we need to do to guarantee that we have checkmate in 2 moves is basically make sure that the knight doesn't go anywhere. The other option is we can put the knight into check, but force it to go, but make sure that it's forced to go to where we want it to go. Oh, actually what I could do is I could move this bishop here, and that way that bishop blocks all 4 of the possible spaces where the knight could move. meaning that black has to move a different piece. And then I think we need to move this bishop over here as move number 2. D3 is a G, and F5 is an E. Okay, let's take a look at board number 3 here. This is another checkmate in 2 situation. Okay, so there's a lot of spaces that the black knight could move right now. 2 of them are blocked by his own pieces. These 2 in this corner are blocked by the king. So we could block the remaining 2 spaces on the right by moving the rook over here. We could put the knight into check by moving the king here. But they could have moved either of these 2 pieces out of the way. But I do think the plan is to put the knight into check first in this case. So the knight could be in either of these 2 spaces for the second move. I think if we move our rook over here as our second move, I'm thinking that's going to resolve all of our problems. It could go over and capture the king. Yeah, that looks like it would be bad. Yeah, I'm having trouble with board 3. I'm not really seeing it. I'm going to try a different board. Okay, this is board 10. It's the only other board that has mate in 2. I cannot see a way to put it into check. Okay, I'm going to take a look at this board just because it looks simpler. It's checkmate in 3. Not seeing how that's going to work. Not going to lie, I thought I was at least a little bit better at chess than this. Okay, I think I finally see this one. If I move my rook from here over to here as the first move, the only 2 places that the knight can go are up here or down here. Then whichever one of these the knight goes to, I move my rook up to be immediately next to for the second move. So the first move is D1 to G1. So that gives me an E and an O. Oh, I think I see this one now too. So if I start by moving my rook up here for move 1, that's going to block off all 4 of the spaces on the right, and the knight can only move up here or down to here. Now the knight could move out there, right? Okay, I don't think that works. I've now spent over an hour on this chess puzzle. Oh my gosh. I don't understand why I can't see this one. I don't have that many options as white. Oh, I could use the pawn to put the knight in check. Is that it? I forgot the pawn can move 2 if it's the first move. So what if this is my first move? So if he moves up here to space 7, I can checkmate by moving my rook up to here as move 2. Whereas if he moves down here to A3, I can checkmate by moving my king up here to B2. So that second move is different depending on where the knight moves, but the first move is to put the knight into check by moving my pawn from A2 to A4. So that gives me an A and a T. So in the from column, we have A, G, E, I, A. Okay, that doesn't look like anything, but I would have guessed it's where we go to, and that starts with Geo. Geophagist? One that eats earth. Let's give it a try. Okay, I'm going to try this geophagist as the answer for my kingdom for a horse. That was not correct. I wonder if Nutramatic has any better options. I'm getting 2 pretty well-known people that have this letter pattern. It's George Galt and George Gist. I'm going to try both of them because why not? George Galt was wrong. George Gist was correct. Okay, so we managed to get the answer to the My Kingdom for a Horse puzzle. So that means that we've finished this My Kingdom for a Horse puzzle, which unlocks the directions puzzle. So that means from here, we can go on trying to solve either Campfire Music, You Have Died of Dysentery, or try the brand new puzzle of Directions. I'm going to pause my timer here. The video's probably not over yet. I'm probably going to start up a new timer for the next puzzle in the solve. Okay, so now we can move on to another puzzle. I recorded that the first puzzle took me 68 minutes, so I can add up all of my times at the end of the hunt. But for now, I'm going to start my time and see how long it takes to get another solve. 3, 2, 1, here we go. Okay, so this is the new directions puzzle. You are lost in the city, so you climb some skyscrapers to look around. If only you could make sense of your notes. And it says, on any given skyscraper, you jot down the number of buildings that you see in each direction, taller than the one you are standing on. Okay, so this sounds like a skyscraper's logic puzzle. Okay, so I'm assuming the basic rules to this puzzle are going to be the same as a standard skyscraper puzzle, which is a little bit like Sudoku, where the numbers 1 to 6 are going to appear one time in every row and column. This one assumes that each of those numbers 1 to 6 represents a different height of a skyscraper. So 1 is the smallest skyscraper and 6 is the tallest in each row and column. The puzzle says, on any given skyscraper, you jot down the number of buildings you see in each direction, taller than the one you're standing on. So if you're standing on a number 6, you should see zeros in all directions, which tells me that none of these vantage points we're given is actually on a number 6 building. So obviously some of these we can place where they go immediately. So these ones go in the corners. Yeah, we have a lot of clues along the top row here. Basically every number except for the number 6 is going to have a clue on it in the top row. So this clue here has to be the 5 skyscraper. So basically this is telling us that building 5 is somewhere to the left of building 6. So 5 can't actually go here because we know 6 isn't on that corner. Let's say that it goes here and then that building 6 goes here, for example. Oh, so actually this wouldn't work because this one needs to be able to see 2 buildings to the left of it. What if 5 went here? If 5 went there, because of the same rules, if 6 went here, it would cover everything. So 6 has to go here. And that means, so like this building can't go in this space because it needs to see at least 2 things to the right of it. It would have to go here, and it sees 5 and 6, so that's good. And then this building would have to go here. Ah, I see. And the reason that 5, because I just kind of guessed that 5 might go in this slot, but the reason that 5 goes here and not in the spot to the left of it is because this one in the upper left corner has to see 3 buildings, and if the 5 was directly next to it, the only 2 buildings it could see are 5 and 6. So let's see, where else can I go with this? Because like these 3 clues have to see more than 1 building below them, that means that 6 can't go in any of these spaces directly below those clues. We also know that 6 can't go in the same column as the other 6. So in this row, 6 is limited to either this space or this space. Should I focus along the bottom row maybe? That's where I see I have a lot more clues. They have to go in 3 of these 4 spaces, so I'm thinking there should be something I can narrow down there. Obviously these 2 can't go in this first space, but this one might be able to go in that space, right? Well, if it sees nothing to the right of it, we know this clue isn't a 6 itself, because 6 would have all zeros. If it can't see anything to the right of it, that would mean that the number to the left is a 6, but then that one would be all zeros. So this one can't go in that space either, meaning these 3 clues have to go in these 3 spaces. Well, here's something else that's interesting. So we know these 3 clues go in these 3 yellow spaces. We know none of them is a 6, and we know the 6 isn't in this corner here. If the 6 was in the bottom right corner, then they would all have at least a 1 pointed to the right. So since they don't, we know that the 6 has to go there in the bottom row. So that means that the 2 and the 3 clue can't go here. This has to be the 1 clue. In fact, these clues with the arrows pointed to the left have to go in ascending order. Actually, looking in this second to last column here, we see something interesting. Because of this 3 that we have at the top, the 6 can't go in the 2 spaces closest to it. And because of this 2 at the bottom, the 6 can't go immediately up against that building either. So we have to have a 6 in that space. Okay, now I'm going to highlight the remaining spaces where a 6 could go. And we're going to see if we can slowly whittle away some of these possibilities. We know a 6 can't go there. If a 6 went here, there would be nowhere for this 3 clue to go, so that means that this 6 can't go here either. Oh, I just see something interesting in the top row, though. So both of the corners couldn't be a 4, because the 4 would need to see at least one more building to the immediate left or right of it before seeing this 5 or this 6. And there's nothing besides the 5 and the 6 taller than a 4, so those two corners can't have the 4 in it. And a 4 also couldn't be in this space, because it would need to see 3 buildings taller than it, but again, there's only a 5 and a 6 taller than the 4. So the 4 has to go there. This centerpiece actually looks like it could be somewhat restrictive. Like, since it has a 2 on the top and bottom, it can only go in one of these middle 2 rows. Since it has the 3 on the right, that means it can only go in one of the first 3 columns. And since it has the 1 on the left, that means it's restricted to being in one of these 4 cells. Can we do better than that? If it went down here, it wouldn't be able to see 3 before getting to this 6. Okay, I've been staring at this without making much progress for about 10 minutes, but I think I just had an idea for this upper left-hand corner here. So the only 3 numbers that remain for the top row are 1, 2, and 3. So we know that either 1, 2, or 3 is going in this top left corner here. Now, if the 6 for the left-hand column went down here in this yellow space, the number hiding behind it could be the 4 or the 5, but the other one, the one that's not hiding, would be somewhere in between this upper left-hand corner and that 6. It would be in one of these 3 spaces. So that number in the upper left corner would definitely see at least 2 buildings. So from this, we know that the 6 can't go down there in that bottom left corner. And the 6 has to go up here for the left-hand column. That rules out this space as being somewhere the 6 could go, meaning this clue has to go here. I was really hoping I would crack into this puzzle in less than an hour, and we just crossed the hour mark. So what can I do? I can try to cheat. So after the step of putting numbers in place for all of these, I'm guessing we're going to do these math equations, and that's going to give us letters. So I could try to do some meta logic, trying to figure out what values these are likely to be based off of the potential values that I already have for some of them in here. So like this one, I have no idea what this number is, but I know it's either going to be 1, 2, or 3, and then we're multiplying that one by this, which could be pretty much anything, 1, 2, 3, or 4. So that means that this first one is either going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 9, or 12. It's not too many letters. If I could do this for all of them, then I might be able to put these options into Nutramatic and get an answer without fully solving the puzzle. Okay, I'm going to try to put these into Nutramatic, and we're going to see how that goes for us. Okay, so now that we have all our letters in, let's search and see if Nutramatic gives us anything useful. It seems to think that second word could be grid, so I might like use this knowledge to go back and try to see if we can make some progress on the rest of this logic puzzle. That means that this number in the top left is a 1, and it also means that this number down here is a 1. It means that this number is a 3, and so this one would have to be a 4 just through logic. I'm not seeing like any contradictions with what we've just done. Okay, so I was just trying a few answers in here that were coming up from my Nutramatic results, and I tried the answer feel grid, and I get this partial confirmation of keep going. So I'm pretty sure feel grid is what's supposed to be spelled out here, but then there's some other step that we need to do. So it could be Braille. Well, let me see if I can completely fill in this grid then. It should help me with the left-hand column. So we have the numbers 1, 3, and 4 left over, and they have to be ascending below this 6. So we have 1, 3, and 4. Oh, okay, so since this one's a 4, and it can't go in the same row as this 4, and we already said it can't go immediately below this 1 or above this 2. This 4 has to go here. Oh, well, I just noticed, okay, so this 3 has to see the 3 spaces below it, so these have to be 4, 5, and 6. How is this 2 going to see 0 below it? Oh, actually, this 2, in order to see 0 below it, has to be this 2 down here. Okay, I think I see something else. This last clue has to go in one of these 5 spaces in the middle here. Unless it goes in this space in the bottom left, it's going to rule out a 6 from being in this yellow space here. And similarly, this clue, the 1 that we still haven't placed, unless it also goes in that lower left corner, the 6 is ruled out from being here, and they can't both be in that bottom left corner space. So no matter what, one of them is going to rule out a 6 being here. So that means this 3 we can put here. So we're just missing 4 and 5 from this row, but we already have a 4 here, so we're starting to get into Sudoku territory. Oh, but this column is missing a 3. Oh, so we're only missing 1 3, so we should be able to place the 3. Can't go here or here, so the 3 goes here. No restrictions in any of the columns in the rows based on our current clues, so it has to come down to these 2 clues we haven't placed yet. Okay, I think I just went down the trail of logic for if I had put the 1 here, and I don't think it works, so I think the 1 has to be here. Okay, I think at long last, through many failed attempts, and also completely bypassing part of the puzzle, I think I've figured out where everything goes in this one. I'm now going to section off the grid based on Braille letters. So Braille is 2 by 3, and I guess what I'm going to do is try to ask myself, what does it look like somebody would feel in each of these cases? So like for this first one, I would guess that you would feel probably the 4, 5, 6 combo here, but maybe not the 2s. And if that's the case, that gives me the Braille letter T. Okay, I don't think this is working, because that next letter is either like an M or an N. How else can you feel this grid? Or maybe it is Braille, but where the clues currently are? So these 2 clues make this cell a C. This clue makes the next one an A. Then we have another C for the top right. Down here, that's the letter T. And then we have these 3 clues, which makes this cell a U. And then we have an S at the end, which spells cactus. Cactus is correct. That unlocks the Gone Trapping puzzle. I'm stopping my time. It took me so long to get through that logic puzzle. I had a great time solving it, don't get me wrong. I've never solved a logic puzzle like that one before, and I love seeing these logic puzzle variants. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and as always, happy escaping.